Permanent Ink by Maxine on AO3.
Chapter 9. Deku broke up with Uraraka a few days later. It was about 3 weeks before his birthday. Katsuki actually managed to get the news right away this time, because Mina barged into Kirishima's room basically the second it happened, all but bursting at the seams and ready to gossip. Kirishima, Kaminari, and Sero all shivered their heads around to him and stare at him, though Kirishima looked away again, almost instantaneously, because apparently they were still pretending that he hadn't definitely known who Katsuki's soulmate was. Katsuki felt a rush of embarrassment at the reminder that he still hadn't managed to just open his mouth and tell him. But then Sero turned, knowing that Kaminari started wiggling his eyebrows, and he quickly became too flustered and irritated by the whole thing to even think about admitting it out loud to Kirishima. "What?" he snapped at the other two idiots, feeling his face heat up. "Oh, nothing," Kaminari said innocently. "What suspicious timing," Sero glanced up to the ceiling and tapped his chin. "I can't imagine why he broke up with his girlfriend so close to his birthday." Mina let out a frustrated sound. "Ugh, I'm so torn. They were cute, you know?" She glared at Katsuki as though this was somehow his fault. Her cheeks puffed out. The sheer fucking audacity. Katsuki had merely offered him advice. That he actually followed through was totally on Deku. "Don't give me that look." He slouched back against Kirishima's bed from where he was sitting on the floor, arms crossed tightly over his chest. "I've got nothing to do with this." "Uh-huh," Mina said, deeply disbelieving. "I have to go. The girls are all meeting in Hirokari's room to shove our faces in a swimming pool's worth of ice cream and talk about how much boys suck. Just though there might be an interesting party in here who would want that update." She turned to leave. Some grumpy jerk earlier awaiting any and all crumbs of the news about what's up with Midoriya, too. "What is Midoriya up to?" Kirishima asked, before she could get too far. Katsuki scowled, and nothing in particular. Mina glanced back over her shoulders. "He's moping downstairs, by himself. Alone." Then she shot them all bright grins and swept off through the floor. "Okay, bye! Good night!" "Alone," Sero repeated. "Moping," said Kaminari. Katsuki gave them both a blank look, while Kirishima cleared his throat. "Maybe you should, go check on him?" "The hell!" Katsuki turned his blank look on the red-haired boy. "Why the fuck would I do that?" "My God," Sero murmured, burying his face in his hands. "Because he's upset?" Kirishima offered, somehow managing to sound only a little intriguous. "Uraraka got all the girls checking up on her, so maybe you could check up on him." "He's got his own damn friends for that." "I mean, his friends include, like, Todoroki," Kaminari said, "who might be the only person in class who's more oblivious about this shit than you are." "Fuck you," Katsuki snapped. "He's got glasses, too." "Ida's visiting his brother this weekend," Sero said, lifting his head again. "He left after class ended. Sent out a memo about it via text and everything." Katsuki frowned. "I probably didn't read it," he said. Sero rolled his eyes. "Yeah, no shit." "Well," Katsuki hunched forward over his crossed legs, resting his elbow on his knee and dropping his chin onto his folded hands. "Not my fault he chose a shitty day to do it, and dumbass friends." "Oh my God, Bakugo! He probably didn't tell them!" Kirishima said. "It's Midoriya. He probably didn't want to burden anyone, and besides, they're all in the same group." "Yeah," Kaminari pointed at Kirishima with a nod. "Kiri's right, dude. Probably feels as guilty and doesn't want to make things awkward with anyone. He's totally going to try to handle this on his own." Sero clamped one hand on Katsuki's shoulder. "Just pretend you're going down to get a drink. You don't have to be obvious about making sure he's okay." Katsuki really didn't know why he had to pretend that he was checking up on the nerd. Deku was a grown-ass, almost adult. He could take care of himself. But he also didn't want to stay here with these idiots, giving him the most unbearable, imploring looks, so he shook Sero's hands off and shoved himself up his feet. "You're all annoying as shit," he said, striding over to the door. "I'm not going down there." Maybe he was a little thirsty, though. His feet took him over to the stairs. He could just drop by the kitchen real fast and then go right back up to his room. Deku was sitting in the corner of one of those couches when Katsuki wandered into the common room. He had a sofa pillow clutched to his chest and his feet pulled up into the cushions. Even from where he stood of the outskirts of the room, Katsuki could see that his eyes were red-rimmed and his cheeks looked wet. God fucking damn it. What the hell are you doing? Deku straightened up a little, jerked his stare away from the TV. Katsuki noticed that there was an All Might documentary playing. An old All Might documentary. One that they used to watch as kids. If he had to guess, this was probably Deku's own copy that he was watching. Oh, Kachan! Deku dragged a hand beneath his eyes. His voice was thick. Sorry, there was no one else down here, so I borrowed the TV. You're a little old to be crying over All Might. Katsuki walked over to stand behind the couch. Especially considering you personally know the guy now. Deku snorted lightly. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Katsuki braced his hip against the couch and looked down at Deku, arms folded across his chest. So what, you just felt like digging this out of storage? It's been a while, Deku mumbled. I was in the mood. If you're gonna be embarrassed, you should do it in your own room. I don't have a TV. His eyes started welling up again, and why that was setting him off, Katsuki had no idea. He panicked, though, some foreign feeling washing over him in startling speed as he tried to think of anything to say that would make Deku not cry. I heard about Uraraka. Fuck, was he stupid? What the hell? Why was he bringing it up? Oh, Deku said dully. Good news really travels fast, huh? Not the actual good news. No, that took months. But this, the breakup, you managed to hear about it within the hour. Pinky's a nosy fuck, Katsuki murmured. He hesitantly brows drawing down as he watched Deku. You called it off, though, she said. She keeps her gossip accurate, at least. Katsuki was honestly so confused. He knew his dumbass friends had said to check up on Deku, but he hadn't counted on him actually being so visibly upset, especially over something that was his own damn decision. So why the fuck are you crying? He demanded, and Deku finally looked back at him and frowned. Because she's one of my best friends, Godchan, he sniffed, a few tears breaking loose and trailing a path down over his freckles. She was my first girlfriend, and we were together for 4 months. Deku choked back a sob, turning away again, and Katsuki's chest tightened. I'm scared everything will be screwed up now. She's really upset. Okay, well, Katsuki's voice came out gruffer than expected. He cleared his throat before continuing. Do you want to take it back? No, Deku whispered. I just wish it didn't suck this much. That was a relief, at least, which Katsuki was annoyed for even thinking. He huffed. All right, well, sitting down here, being all pathetic and shit, is stupid as hell. I'm allowed to be upset, too, Deku said, irritated. That's not what I'm saying. Katsuki's hands dropped, clenching into a fist at his sides. Just, why do it down here, where any lame extra could come in? Deku flung out an arm in the direction of the TV. I wanted... All Might. You're right. Yeah, Katsuki said in a rush. God, Deku is such a nerd. Even in this situation. He moved around the couch, stomping over to the TV and jamming at the eject button on the DVD player. Deku protested immediately, but Katsuki ignored him and stuffed the disc back in its case. When he made it back over to the couch, he shoved the damn thing into Deku's chest. Use my room. Deku blinked at him, his eyes going wide. What? Don't make me say it again, Katsuki said, scrawling. I've got a TV. Finish your dumb documentary there. Deku blinked some more. He looked down at the DVD case where All Might's face was grinning back up at him. Will you be there too? You don't want to be alone? Katsuki asked. No. Deku drew in a slow breath. He gave Katsuki a steady look. At least his tears had stopped again. Do you want to watch it with me? Katsuki's heart did something kind of stupid thing behind his ribcage. He didn't even know what. It just lurched or some shit and then picked up speed, thumped along at a wholly unnecessary pace. It was almost over, he said, mumbling really. I can start it over. Deku looked so goddamn hopeful. The problem was that Katsuki didn't believe in his own ability to be, comforting. He didn't know how. He probably would just yell at Deku and make him cry again or something. He said a little, just go put it on, watch it from wherever you were, and I'll be up in a few minutes. Deku squirmed at him, in disbelief kind of way. You promise? Yes, Deku, Katsuki said loudly, rolling his eyes. Get the fuck out of here, and get all your crying shit out of the system before I come up there. A shaking laugh bubbled up from Deku's throat as he dragged his heels and his hand across his chest again. All right, he murmured, then pushed himself up from the couch and headed for the stairs. He glanced back at Katsuki briefly before he exited, but didn't say anything else. Katsuki waited for the ding of the elevator to sound. Then he pulled out his phone and called Kaminari. Yo, Baku, bro, the other boy said when he answered. How's Midoriya? He ignored the question. I need a favor, he said instead. Oh, Kaminari sounded surprised. Probably because Katsuki had never asked anyone for a favor before in his entire goddamn life. Sure, what's up? I just sent Deku up to my room. Oh shit, Kaminari interrupted. Be careful with the rebound hookups, man. It's only been, 5 minutes. Would you just fucking listen to me? Katsuki snapped. He was down here crying. I just sent him somewhere more private. You're gonna join him? Later. Katsuki walked into the kitchen and pulled the fridge door open, eyeing the containments inside. I gotta do something first. What did Mina say? Something about ice cream? Yeah, it's basically a breakup staple. Okay, tell Kirishima and Sero to go buy some and then go hang out with Deku. What? Kaminari laughed a little. Dude, that's not a good idea. Why the fuck not? Katsuki complained. I'll pay them back. Not that. I just don't think you want to send me in there to sit with him. Katsuki frowned. He likes you. Sure, but we also let him think I'm your boyfriend, Kaminari pointed out, and Katsuki cursed. If I go in there, he's either gonna ask a shit ton of questions about it, and about you, because he definitely knows I'm way more likely to talk than you are, and he's just gonna be weird and sad and about the reminder that you're dating someone. Alright, fine, Katsuki said. Then send Kirishima in there and you and Sero go buy the ice cream. He paused. Strawberry. Strawberry? Kaminari repeated, amused. Katsuki could practically see his eyebrows raising and felt his cheeks flush in response. Just fucking go. Be quick about it. Buy a lot. Kaminari laughed. Okay, lover boy. We'll go buy lots of strawberry ice cream. Shut up, Katsuki growled. It's his favorite. Yeah, I guess that much. See you soon! Kaminari hung up, and Katsuki tossed his phone onto the counter before returning his glare to the fridge. He knew what he wanted to make, but it wasn't like he'd prepared for this ahead of time. It didn't look like anyone had pork cutlets slashed somewhere, and he didn't think he could ditch Deku long enough to make Katsuki anyway. He would probably throw together some quick curry, though. Was the whole thing stupid? What? Did he think he could just magically make everything better by shoving Deku's favorite food at him and surrounding him with Katsuki's friends? Why the hell did he even remember what Deku liked anyways? Katsuki grimaced, glancing back at his phone again. Fuck! Fine! He snatched the phone off the counter before he could talk himself out of it and found his relatively used text threads with half and half. It mostly consists of short conversation about their work studies, and even the dates between those messages were spaced out since they had another group text with Deku, where they tended to have those discussions. Todoroki also had a habit of sending Katsuki the most dumbest fucking jokes he could find, something that had started back when they were talking the additional classes they've been forced into before he could get their peripheral license. Katsuki wasn't sure if the idiot actually thought the shit he sent was funny or not, or if he just liked annoying him. But either way, he never bothered replying. The last text he had from Todoroki right now, sent over a week ago, said, What do you call a dinosaur that crashes his car? A Tyrannosaurus Rex. Lol. It was actually painful. Also, Icy Hut was definitely the guy who sent crap like lol while staring completely impassive at his phone. He fired off a quick text to him and then began pulling things out of the fridge. A reply came, though only after a few seconds. Several replies, actually. Hey, go to my room. I'm flattered, Bakugo, but you've got a boyfriend. Or so I've heard. My sources are pretty reliable, though. Katsuki nearly exploded the bag of rice he had just hauled out of the pantry. Fuck off! Not like that, asshole. Are my sources wrong? Inquiring minds would like to know. Are your sources fucking Deku? Possibly. Also, Yaoyorozu heard it from Jiro, who I believe got the news directly from Kaminari. Congrats on your electrifying relationship. FFS. Fantastic for sure. Freaky fun soul. Fabulous foot socks. Holy shit, would you just go to my room already? It's Deku. Todoroki's tone, as much as it could, differed through text, changed immediately. Is he okay? What happened? He's fine, just moping and shit. He broke up with Roundface. Oh, why? I don't know, ask him. Is Uraraka okay? She's got all the girls with her. We get Deku's dumbass. Just go, shithead, jeez. Already on the way. Why is he in your room? Katsuki left that one on red. It was none of Half and Half's fucking business as why, but also he couldn't bother giving him an explanation. He was also busy tossing things into a pot on the stove anyway. He focused on that for the next little while, putting up the simplest curry recipe he could think of in his mind. It was an easy go-to, something his mom had made all through his childhood. Deku had plenty of it in his times, himself. He was idly watching the pot, stirring occasionally and waiting for the rice cooker to finish. When he reached for his phone again, this time it was Kirishima he texted. Is the nerd still crying? Nah, he seems okay. Todoroki's here now. Did you send him? Yeah. Aw, dude. Smiley face. Shut up. Is his stupid All Might thing still going? Just ended. Where are you? Get out my old gaming system. The vintage one. There's a fuck ton of old games he likes on it. You're gonna let us play them? Break anything and I'll kill you. Be up in a few. Oh my god, playing Smash all night. That and the racing one. Bro, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Shut up! Being nice was the worst. Deku had better be fucking grateful. The rice cooker beeped at him, and Katsuki turned it off, then snapped off the burner beneath the curry, as well as he spooned some of each in a bowl and spent about 2 seconds wondering if he should bring enough for everyone, before quickly deciding against it. They could get off their asses and come feed themselves. When he pushed into his room, Kaminari was kneeling up in front of his TV, fidgeting with one of the old gaming consoles. It looked like he'd gotten everything hooked up properly, at least, and he was navigating through the menu now. Deku and Icy Hot were talking to each other in low voices, both sitting somewhat stiffly on the bed. Probably because neither of them have ever been in his room before. Deku perked up when he saw him. Gachan! Oh shit, you cooked? Kaminari was looking at him over his shoulders, his eyes round with surprise. Katsuki scowled, and unceremoniously shoved the bowl he was carrying at Deku. We didn't have any pork, he muttered, feeling his cheeks go hot. Ugh, so I couldn't make Katsuki. You get shitty curry instead. Oh, Deku said. He seemed kind of overwhelmed. You didn't have to. I know I didn't, Katsuki snapped. Even Todoroki looked mildly taken back, eyes dripping back and forth between the two of them. I just felt like it. It's not a big deal. No, Deku said quickly, smoothing, like he was talking to an angry dog that had been hackled up. I know it's not. He laughed a little, then tipped his face up and beamed at Katsuki. Thank you, Kachan. It was like being punched in the gut by a smile. Katsuki's breath left him entirely for a moment. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out, and thank fucking God Todoroki chose that moment to speak up. Where is my painstakingly homemade it's not a big deal curry, he asked. Get it yourself, Katsuki said, just barely managing to recover. He glared at Icy Hot. I'm not serving everyone. There's more in the kitchen. Todoroki's eyes went even wider at that, his eyebrows hiking up. What, did he think Katsuki made one single fucking serving? Did he know anything about cooking at all? Dumb question. Guess I'll go get some then, he murmured, rising from the bed. Bring me a bowl, Kirishima called. Double serving. Todoroki nodded and ambled out of the room. Katsuki was quick to claim his spot on the bed, sitting next to Deku. This is really good, Deku said softly. Your mom's recipe? Katsuki shrugged. Old hag's good for cooking, if nothing else. Deku took another bite. I remember. Todoroki had a whole-ass tray of curry with him when he came back. There were 3 bowls on it, including one that was damn near overflowing and clearly meant for Kirishima. Katsuki wordlessly accepted one of the others. Not too long after that, Kaminari and Sero turned up with an entire fucking ice cream bar and about 4 different types of candy and at least 7 bags of chip. Katsuki tried not to outwardly cringe at the moment of food that was currently in his room. With this crowd, there was bound to be crumbs and messiness left behind. The look on Deku's face when he saw the multiple tubs of strawberry ice cream was worth it, though. He kept glancing curiously at Katsuki. Expressions shifted from curiosity to something tender and warm and pleased. Katsuki steadily kept his gaze averted, but their knees were touching as they sat next to each other. He thought it might have been deliberate on Deku's end. He knew it was on his. Kaminari has plopped himself down at a safe distance away on the floor. He shot Katsuki a grin, knowing look when he saw him next to Deku, but the other didn't try to include. Deku had internally seemed on the verge of getting up and moving out of the way for him, but Kaminari just waved him off and started digging into the ridiculous amount of bags he and Sero had returned with. They all ate and shot shit for a while. It was mostly Katsuki's voluptuous trio who filled the silence, though they managed to draw Todoroki into the conversation easily enough. Deku was quieter than usual, only speaking up here and there. He got the occasional concerned glance from someone, but all of them knew the reason for his mood, and no one brought it to the attention. At one point, Sero briefly disappeared and returned with more curry, which Deku happily accepted seconds of, and turned out that having half and half had been a fucking genius idea on Katsuki's part because he kept the ice cream cold for them, even though Kirishima's patience ran out. "Alright, I'm starting," he said, waving some extra controllers at the rest of them. "Who wants first rounds?" Katsuki had allowed his friends to break out of this particular gaming system only a handful of times before. It was an ancient temporary thing that his dad had gotten him as a kid, stuffed with the brim with old era games that once upon a time had been housed on carriages and discs, and now were just loaded directly into the system. He trusted Kirishima with setting it up because he'd been the one who even knew what the fuck it was at the time. Katsuki had designed to show it to his group. Kaminari and Sero had just blinked at it uncomprehendingly, while Kirishima completely lost his shit. The only other person Katsuki had ever allowed to touch his system was Deku. They wasted hours when they were younger running through all the various games it had to offer, narrowing down their favorites to a select few that they've mastered. Kirishima wasn't bad when he played, and had mostly gotten Kaminari and Sero up to speed by now, but seeing Deku's eyes light up when he finally registered what they were going to play had him bursting in anticipation, exploring in Katsuki's gut, and he couldn't stop the sharp grin that plastered itself on his face. The loser had no idea what they were getting into. "No, no, 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 no! Damn it, Midoriya!" Sero cried, watching as his character on screen exploded and spun out of control. Deku crackled as he sped past and temporarily claimed the leader spot on the race. "God, you're brutal." His innocent baby deer eyes were a lie, Kirishima grumbled, stuck somewhere in the middle of the pack. He had had the first for a little bit before he had fallen victim to a well-timed onslaught of projectiles from Deku. Katsuki snickered. He was sitting this round out. Half and half, about to get his ass lapped again! "I think I was going backwards for the first part," Todoroki said blatantly. His eyes were narrowed, though, drawn back down in frustration. "Midoriya dropped a banana peel in front of me, and then I lost it." "It's literally a circle, dude," Kaminari pointed out. "I've never played this before." "Yeah, see? That excuse is only good for the first 10 races. Those are the rules." "Seems fair," Todoroki murmured, just as misjern as a turn drove off the cliff and into some water somewhere. His character was just getting sorted out and placed back on the tracks when Deku zoomed past. "Heads up," he said cheerfully, and then the screen flashed as a bolt of lightning struck everyone's avatar, and they shrunk and lost speed. "Brutal," Sero said again. "How cool would it be if I could just do that?" Kaminari said. "Just shrink people with electricity. I could carry Katsuki all around, pocket-sized." Todoroki snorted. "Don't know what good he'll be to you, pocket-sized." Both Kaminari and Sero made loud, considerable sounds. "Keep going," Katsuki cut in a dangerous before they could say anything, just as Deku crossed the finish line in the first place, and a burst of joyful music started playing. "Seriously, I'll happily kill both of you." "I mean, he'll still have arms," Deku said. He could easily wrap around Katsuki sprung and shoved him into the headboard as Kaminari, Kirishima, and Sero all bursted out laughing. "What the fuck, assholes?" Todoroki blinked, something like realization drawing on his face. "Oh," he said softly, his head tipping to the side like he was actually trying to picture it. "I see it now. Motherfucker, do you want to die?" Katsuki spat. "Not particularly." "Holy shit," Sero chucked out, still chuckling as he tried to catch his breath. "Oh my god, Midoriya, I had no idea." "I told you," Kirishima crowded. "The innocence is totally just an act." Deku grinned, somewhat sheepishly as he pulled himself upright again. "Yes," he said, overly serious. "With one of my mere relationships, I am now the most experienced of men." "Liar." Katsuki said immediately. Deku just rolled his eyes. Kaminari barked out another laugh. Okay. Pot? Kettle? Mister, we're definitely keeping our clothes on at all times, and you may only touch me above the waist. Katsuki chucked the pillow at Kaminari's head. He went down with a dramatic flare of limbs. Damn, really? Sarah asked, and Katsuki all but snarled at him. His face was bright red. He just fucking knew it. He could feel it. It was awful. Deku was gasping at him. Seriously? He said, reaching out to shove at his shoulders. You? Kachan, are you serious? What? Katsuki snapped, pushing him right back. I never said. You sure let me think it, though. Well, it's your own damn fault, isn't it? They grappled with each other until their laugh-ass wrestling attempt mortified into one of those slap fights, only pausing when Kaminari's loud gawping really hit their ears. The fuck? Katsuki murmured, staring down at him. Kaminari shot upright and tossed the pillow aside. The biggest shit-eating grin crossed about his face. Dude, you really let him think we've been bumping uglies this whole time? What in the actual goddamn fuck is bumping uglies? Katsuki said, exaggeratedly, completely done with this entire conversation. Doing the horizontal hokey pokey? Kaminari clarified, as if that was any fucking better. I thought it was horizontal tango, Sarah asked. That's only once you actually know what you're doing, Deku said. Tangoing requires practice. Right, Kaminari nodded eagerly, which is why Kachan only gets to do the hokey pokey. That's the one where you put a body part in and shake it all about? Todoroki spoke up. Yes? Kirishima totally lost it at that point, bending over and burying his face in his hands, his back shaking with unresistible laughter. Okay, Katsuki said loudly, both hands coming up as harmless explosions popped and sparkled along his palm. Everybody can fucking shut up right the fuck now, because none of you fucking losers have done any kind of horizontal anything. It's true, Kaminari said. He shifted over to his knees until it was up front to Katsuki's and Deku, then draped his torso over across the bed between them, and gave Deku an earnest look. Midoriya, let me be the first to assure you that my body is a temple, and I remain pure and unsuited. Deku chuckled, reaching out to pat Kaminari's head. What a relief, he said. It was clearly meant as a joke, but it kind of came out sounding just a tad too real. Katsuki's hands fell, and his eyebrows going up at the same time, and Deku quickly cleared his throat. Oh man, Kirishima said, straightening up with a slight wince. He wiped at his eyes, and a few tears have leaked out while he'd been crackling up. Think that about covered my ab workout for like the next week. Okay, next game? Next game? Kaminari said, pulling away from the bed and barging into Kaminari's side. Smash time! Yes, Deku breathed, eyes going wide. He grabbed Katsuki's bicep, shaking him a little. Team up with me, Kachan? Katsuki shot him a baffled look. Huh? Deku leaned in, his voice lowering. We can destroy them. Holy shit. Katsuki realized very abruptly, right there and then, that he was totally screwed. Kachan? Yeah, sure, Katsuki said, hastily. He forced himself to smirk, but it was easy enough to let his competitive nature take over, and the smirk snatched immediately into a dangerous grin. Yeah, let's do it. Deku grinned right back, a wild look sparring in his eyes. Did it just get really cold in here all of a sudden? Sarah asked. Oh, sorry, said Todoroki. That was me. Midori has a terrifying look in his face, and it startled me. Whoa, Kirishima murmured, as he glanced back at Deku. Oh no, there's two of them, Kaminari said mournfully. Get ready, Deku said, apparently deciding to roll with it. It was the happiest he'd sounded all night. We're about to kick all your asses. Yep, Katsuki was definitely screwed. That was a long chapter. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Beans and rice. Well, I love this chapter. I love the whole dynamic, the little group dynamic. Love it. Love how Bakugo is caring for Deku, and I think this is a moment of realization. Yep, I have fallen for Deku. There's no turning back now. I have fallen. I'm too deep now. No going back. Lost the receipt. As always, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, and have a wonderful day or night. Please subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.